Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. From the title of this video, you would have known that I passed my driving test this week, which I feel so good about. I feel so incredibly grateful and relieved. I'm just filming the intro. This is going to be a great chat. I haven't done a sit-down chat in a little while, and I thought I'll film in the car behind the steering wheel. I'm so incredibly excited to share my story, what I've been through, and now I can finally share it on my YouTube. It wasn't the most easy or quick journey for me, and I've definitely learned a lot. I have made mistakes before. If you're new to my channel, hello, I am Louisa. I post lifestyle, personal and vlog content, including self-care and mental health tips. Today is Friday the 30th June. I just passed my driving test on the 26th of June. I will come back in a few days and continue this video. So hi guys, I already filmed the intro the other day. As you can see from the title of this video, I finally passed my driving test, which feels amazing. I'll be giving you guys my top tips and a little bit of my story. It is quite hot in here, so I've got to take off this shirt. This is the test certificate I got. I took my driving test this Monday. Today it is Sunday, 2nd of July, and it's currently 4:30 in the afternoon. I have written down notes, so I have structure and I know what I'm going to say. Sit down, relax, grab yourself a nice drink, snack. I've got so much to tell you guys. I'm going to be sharing with you guys my story and my top tips. I haven't really got a particular order. I'm just going to say my top tips on how I passed. If you're going to take your driving test, or if you've already passed your driving test and you're just interested in seeing my tips and see if you could relate to me. It was my second time taking the driving test. I got 2 minor faults. I'm just genuinely so happy and grateful. Like, all my hard work, praying, moving in silence more has paid off. I had 5 different driving instructors, which I know is a lot. How I got confident in driving was practicing in my family car without the dual control. I haven't really talked a lot about driving because it was something private and personal to me, and I didn't really want too many people knowing when I'm taking a driving test, and that goes along with moving in silence more and having less energy being interfered. And I'm so glad I told very few people when I was having my driving test. So what really helped me gain confidence in driving was when I started driving in my family car, had provisional insurance, and I got much better at driving and I was making less mistakes. I was driving like a pro, to be fair. I was practicing obviously more than once a week. Up to the test I was practicing like 4 times a week, and then I had a few lessons with instructor just to have that guidance in instructor's car. I was driving in an Audi. I had 5 sessions with instructor, but I was doing practice in this car and I took the test in this car. I really appreciated the fact that it didn't have dual control, because it was more real driving and I was fully responsible for the car, especially going uphill. If you didn't know, I actually vlogged my first time taking a driving test. I didn't pass the first time, and it's okay. Not everyone passes the first time. It's completely okay as long as you get up, you don't give up and you keep going. I didn't pass because I was going up a hill and the car lost control. The car was rolling back and I panicked. I didn't know how to move the car uphill in a manual, but now I've gotten really good at that. I've practiced a lot, and actually during the test I took this week, I had to stop up a hill and then move behind a parked vehicle. I had to stop up a hill and then start the car. So it was really good that I was practicing going uphill. And the first time I wasn't confident, I was really nervous, but this time I was much more confident. I was still nervous though. When I was driving to the test center, I was still a bit nervous because I really wanted to pass this time and I worked hard and I knew I was going to pass. Like, I had a good gut feeling that I was going to pass this year. You know, when you have a gut feeling about something, that's what I got about this time. I just knew that I was going to pass. I had the driving test pass certificate on my vision board and my driving license card with my address, name, date of birth. I had it on my vision board and I was visualizing it, I was journaling about it, I was praying, I was meditating. And you don't have to do all of that. One of my main tips from my own personal experience, I worked on the thing that I wasn't that good at, and then I got better at it and more confident at it. So yeah, I didn't pass my driving test the first time. I was really nervous. I was making a lot of mistakes, and it was an instructor's car. I didn't have enough practice, but I'm so incredibly grateful that I got some good practice in this car. So I had 4 to 5 different instructors. I've never driven by myself before. When I get my own car or when I'm doing test driving, using a zip car, I'll be driving by myself for the first time. I've always driven with someone. I started 4 years ago. It has taken me 4 years to get my driving license, but on and off. The pandemic just made it really hard. Also, I had to wait 5 months to take my driving test. It really depends on the area, but I'm so glad I overcame the pandemic. I'm so glad I trusted life's timing, not give up. I've taken my theory test last November, and since then I just had this good gut feeling that I was going to pass. I'd say I'm a spiritual, intuitive person. I can pick up on vibes, energy, and I just had this good gut feeling. My first time taking a driving test, I actually vlogged it. It's still on my YouTube channel. I didn't have a feeling that I was going to pass, but this time I did. So my feeling was right. I just knew it. Had to be patient and trust life's, God's timing, and not give up. I'm going to vlog and document me going to the Mercedes store and test driving the car for the first ever time, which would be so cool. If you guys watched my Taiwan vlogs, last summer I actually went to the Mercedes-Benz store and I sat in the cars. After coming back from Taiwan last summer, I passed my theory and practical test the first time. Overall, if I'm talking about the pass, I passed the theory second time. I actually didn't pass theory the very first time I took it. I failed by 1 mark, and I remember feeling so annoyed at that point. I went again, took the theory test, passed, and then the 2 years expired, because basically you've got 2 years after you pass your theory test to pass a driving test. After I came back from Taiwan, I did the theory test again, passed, and then I did the driving test this week and I passed, which feels amazing. Getting a driving license in the UK, for some people maybe it was easy for them, quick for them, maybe they didn't have to deal with the pandemic, the backlog, but for me personally it wasn't an easy journey, it wasn't a quick journey, but I'm so glad I didn't give up and I kept going, and all that hard work and determination, oh my god, I'm getting emotional, it was all worth it. As soon as the examiner told me I passed and I only did 2 minor faults, my heart exploded. Some people may not understand, it's such a big deal at the moment. I've been through trials, tribulations. It wasn't an easy and quick journey for me. I think that'll make me even more grateful for my driving license and not take it for granted. If you guys didn't know, some of you guys may know this already, if you get 6 or more penalty points on your driving license in the first 2 years, you'll automatically lose your license and you have to resit the theory and practical parts again. I'm actually kind of glad that I went through all of that and it wasn't the most quick or easy journey for me. For me personally, it took me a few years to get it. I'm so glad that I went through that because it has kind of made me more grateful and more appreciative of my driving license. I was so emotional in a good way this Monday. I was just like thanking God, and I got some congratulations and positive messages from people online, like friends and family. This has been one of my biggest goals for a little while, and now it's finally here. With anything in life in general, whether it's getting your first job, getting your driving license, buying your first house, whatever it is, or graduating, any big goal you have, don't give up. I know it's very cliche. Definitely take breaks, but don't give up. The less easy it is, the more you're going to appreciate it when you actually achieve it. So I'm just in such a grateful mood. Hard work pays off. Yeah, I'm looking good. I even cried on that day because I was like, yes, finally the day has come. I visualized it in my head before. I was literally crying on Monday. I was just releasing it out. I booked a driving test back in January, told very little people about it because I kind of wanted to keep it private to myself and keep it sacred, because I've learned from my own past mistakes. Patience is definitely key. focusing on things that I could control and trying to let go and detach from things that were out of my control helped, and like praying to God. There were actually a few times when I just felt like giving up, and I know that may sound quite trivial and stupid. I think I didn't find it that easy because before, when I was like 17, 18, even 19 years old, I was telling too many people. Too much energy was being interfered with what I was talking about, and I feel like if you don't have good friends or good people around you that do not have good intentions, it can actually affect what you are talking about or what you're manifesting. So that's why I'm very selective with friends right now and who I surround myself with. I did kind of isolate myself over the last few months to elevate. Although it was good that I did that, my social life was quite dead over the last few months. I haven't really been hanging out with people. I haven't been to a party in ages. I was like focusing on myself, including getting my driving license. I was like to myself, right, that's it. I'm not going to be seeing friends too often. I'm not going to be talking about it too much. I just want to focus on it, get my driving license, work hard in silence. And it's happened and it's become true. Now I'm like more relaxed about it. I'm like, oh, now I can see friends more. Just focusing more on myself, kind of tunnel vision, you know, the quote, isolate to elevate. I don't recommend you isolating yourself completely. We're all social beings. We do need friends, family, support, good people around us. I just wanted to isolate myself more and be more low-key about it, move in silence more, practice being selective, and it worked. It worked. I did much better this time. So overall, that is my story. That is a bit of context. Before I get into the tips, I just want to say I actually didn't vlog my driving test. I decided not to because I already vlogged my first time taking it, and I kind of just wanted to focus more on doing the driving test and passing it. And I was like to myself, if I pass this time, I will definitely do a sit down chat. The maneuver I had was a reverse bay. I like front bay and reverse bay for some reason. I also like parallel park. There are 4 different maneuvers and they pick one of them for each driving test. So I got reverse bay, which was good. I got in the first time. Normally I don't really get in fully the first time and then I just readjust it, you know. There's someone walking, they see me filming. Anyways, I'm just gonna keep talking, pretending on there. Went to another town. It was nice. The fastest I drove during the driving test was 40 miles per hour. I was kind of a bit nervous in the first 5 minutes, but then it faded away and I just got confident and I was like talking to the examiner, talking to myself and assessing the situation and keeping my mind focused on what was ahead. The only thing was basically the boot of the car wasn't fully closed during the driving test. I realised it because it was flashing on the dashboard, and then I closed it. I actually thought that I might have not passed because of that, but luckily it didn't cause danger or threat to anyone. But I had to like let go of that and just focus and move on. And then when she told me that I passed and I got the pass certificate, my heart exploded. I was so happy. I was just jumping up and down. So that's the story of my driving journey. I started this time 4 years ago, which is a long time. Hello? Oh, I'm just filming right now.
Can you undo this one?
Oh, this. Right, okay. Cool. I watched Molly May's driving test vlog that she did 2 years ago. I was kind of like manifesting it, and then when she said don't give up, it's taken me a long time to get here. Now I'm here, I've done it, and it's taken me 4 years on and off to get here. Oh my god, it's just an amazing feeling. I just want to let you guys know that hard work is all worth it. Manifestation is real. Don't give up. Setbacks, obstacles, tough times, they do happen. As long as you learn from your mistakes, you get better at things, life will work out in your favor. And you have to get out of the victim mindset. It's very easy to get into a victim mindset and think that life is against you, but it's not good for you. Don't give up. Take breaks if needed and learn from the mistakes before and improve on that. Life will work for you. Praying and meditating definitely helped. Hey? Finally, it has come true. Dreams come true. Hard work, prayer, manifestation, moving in silence more in a healthy, balanced way, being selective and being more low-key about things that haven't happened yet. My moves, dreams, plans, goals has definitely worked in my favour. There was a reason why I didn't announce my 2023 goals in my New Year vlog. Passing the driving test and getting driving licence was one of them. It was like one of my biggest goals and it feels amazing to have got it done. So my top tips I have learned from my past mistakes and from my own personal experience, and hopefully they're helpful, beneficial. As I said before, move in silence more, stop oversharing, and don't tell too many people when you are taking your driving test. Simple. Moving in silence more and not oversharing and not talking too much about your business, your plans, or your moves. It's a skill to work at, but it's a beautiful skill. For some reason, I actually do enjoy moving in silence and focusing more on actions rather than words. It's also for your own good. Whether you have something coming up, if you tell too many people about what you're going to do and it hasn't happened yet, you just don't know what's going to happen. So move in silence more. It will work in your favor. Not everyone has your best intentions. This year I moved in silence, especially with the driving test. The only people that knew when I was taking my driving test this time was my mum, my close family, and my driving instructor. Move in silence more, stop oversharing, and don't tell too many people when you are taking your driving test. Be selective with people. My second tip is, if you are religious or spiritual, praying and meditating helps. Oh, my baby doggy. So praying and meditation helps. If you're spiritual, if you're religious, pray to God. God will help you along the way, like God did for me. I was praying to God pretty much every day. I would pray to him to help me pass the driving test with confidence, ease, and success, and he's helped me. And I know it's not just God's work, it's not just God, the universe, it's also your hard work, your actions as well. Praying to God does help, because some of it is also luck in a way. I think most of it is also down to you, but praying to God definitely helped. Praying and meditation helps. I definitely keep praying to God anyways. Like, even after I achieve my goals, I will still keep praying to him, even when things are going well. You've just got to keep a good relationship with God or the universe if you're into that. I even prayed and meditated on the morning of my driving test. So this is more practical and more realistic. So how I passed my driving test was I got more confident in driving. I got much better at driving as a result of practicing in my family car without the dual control. And I know that not everyone has that opportunity. And before that, when I was just practicing in instructor's car, I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't have that advantage. So if you guys have a family car, if you have anyone that is willing to help you, teach you and allow you to practice in their car, they've got to have a license for at least 3 years. And you've got to be insured to drive it, then definitely do it. It has massively helped with my confidence in driving. It has helped me a lot. So if you have that, definitely make use of it. And it's actually cheaper than driving sessions, which was so good. On the other hand, if at the moment you don't have that opportunity, some people, they just practice more in an instructor's car, in a driving school, and that is also a good alternative. So practice in a car without dual control, like private practice with a well-trusted family member or friend. If you don't have that, then I would say do more driving lessons with an instructor more regularly. Before I had access to this car, I only did 1 hour a week, which really isn't enough. From what I've learned, take this from me, I'm not sure about automatic, but if you're doing manual and the only driving you're doing is in an instructor's car with obviously the dual control, I recommend doing 4 hours a week. And I know it is expensive. The way I think of it is that the driving license you're getting for the rest of your life, so the amount of money you invest in this will all be worth it. I promise you, it'll all be worth it. Although it is expensive, it's so worth it. If you can just get 3 to 5 hours a week of driving done, you're getting more confident in driving. How I got better at driving was practice, especially with maneuvers. Just practice a lot. Because before, when I was driving in this car, I used to forget a lot and I would make a lot more mistakes. Before the very first time I took a driving test, which was back in 2021, I was only practicing 2 hours a week in an instructor's car, and I didn't have practice outside of that. So it was inevitable that I wasn't going to pass because my practice was quite limited. I thought I was saving money because 4 or 5 hours a week is expensive, but it is worth it. That is one of my biggest practical tips. Practicing car without dual control, more real driving, practicing in different situations that had more pressure, like more stressful situations, definitely helped with my confidence in driving. I don't recommend doing only 1 hour a week. For my own personal experience, that wasn't enough for me. I needed more, especially in a manual car where you've got the clutch. I think 3 to 5 hours a week is good. In general, it really depends on someone's learning capabilities, how quick they learn at driving. But personally for me, 1 to 2 hours a week is really not enough to pass a driving test. Practice is key. My other tip is, I mean, you don't have to do it. Visualization. You know what, guys? I just feel so good having it in my hand. I got this certificate, the image of this, on my vision board, and I would look at it during the month before my driving test. I would look at it more. I would visualize myself holding the pass certificate in this car, jumping up and down outside, and then when it became a reality, it just felt so incredible. Visualization, manifestation. I did that. I put that on my vision board and I manifested it. My other tip is to work on your weaknesses. So for me, my weaknesses beforehand was heel stop and start, and then some of the parking maneuvers. I found Bay Park quite tricky, but then as soon as I got my reference point sorted with instructor and I practiced in this car over and over again, I got a lot better and more confident in it. Work on the things that you don't feel confident in, because with a driving test you don't know what maneuver you're going to get. Works on my weaknesses. Heel stop and start in a manual car, you've got to use a handbrake, lift clutch to the biting point, and then accelerate whilst you gradually lift the clutch up. So it was a skill that I was working on. And then what I did personally was I actually did take notes. I had notes on my phone. I named it driving, and anything that I had to remember, anything that I had to know, such as one-way roads. You know, one-way roads where you've got to go in the right lane if you're turning right, but you can stay in the left lane when you're turning left. They're like easy to do, but they're very easy to forget as well. All the rules, all the important things I had to know about driving, there was for me to know about driving. I would write it down, and all the show me, tell me questions as well. I did take notes. Also with my driving theory test, I did take notes. I studied, I practiced. Quizzes, mock tests, hazard perception clips. That's also how I passed my theory test. Alongside praying, meditation, manifestation is also action. Taken notes on the tell me questions and gone through the bonnet. The bonnet is where you open the front of the car and you analyze, you check the engine oil, hydraulic brake fluid and engine coolant. My next tip was to stay humble. Actions beat words. This is relevant to moving in silence more. So stay humble goes with moving in silence, overshare less, learn from my own past mistakes. Actions beat words. I didn't rush myself. When it feels right, it feels right. My next tip is, if you have your driving test coming up, I would say keep your mind off it and don't think about it too much. So what I did was I actually went to Paris. I went to Paris, Disneyland, 3 to 2 weeks before taking my driving test. Take a break from the UK, get my mind off of it and not think about it too much. That definitely helped. And then on the weekend before my driving test, I went to St. Paul's Cathedral and Tate Modern as like a day out. And I went to Shepherd's Bush Westfields, just keeping myself busy. I even swam in the lake the week before the driving test. Whatever it is, a job interview, an event that maybe you feel a bit anxious about or some pressure about, take your mind off of it. And self-care is good. Dealing with emotions, pressure and anxiety. Taking a break from UK helped. Self-care is good. Importance of looking after mental health. I'm just reading my notes. That definitely helped. And even on the evening before my driving test, I actually didn't feel nervous, which was so interesting. Last time I felt really nervous. This also helped a lot. Some people don't actually mention this tip. This is also what I did. Commentary driving, talk it through definitely helped. I basically talked about driving, what to expect on the road, what to do, etc. during the driving test, and it actually helps, like it calms down my nerves. I was just talking about I need to stop here, priority to right at roundabouts, what's the speed limit of this road, now turn left, mirror signal maneuver, prepare, observe, move, do my 6-point check. I was checking the mirrors, I was doing my observation. When I was practicing, even before I passed my driving test, I was focused and I would do commentary driving. And also a good one is anyone at the zebra crossing, because sometimes in London, in UK, there are a lot of hazards, zebra crossings, speed limit changes, different things to consider. That's why it seems like driving is kind of like complicated and there's just so many rules, and that's why practice is key. Commentary driving definitely helps. I'd say things like anyone at the zebra crossing, I need to change the speed, I need to check my mirror, mirror signal maneuver, prepare, observe, move, 6-point check, handbrake up on an uphill. That really helped, and that is also very beneficial because during a driving test it lets the examiner know that you're serious. They kind of appreciate it because they know that you've prepared for it well. Just talking it through and having a conversation with examiner, like treating them as if they're just your friend. And also I just imagined it was like a driving trip to the shop with a friend, and it really helped. So feel free to talk to examiner, see them as just a friend or instructor. And when I was talking, it just kept my mind off my nerves. Talking it through really helped. So to sum up that tip, talk it through. Commentary driving is beneficial, it calms your nerves, and also act calm and confident. Treat the examiner like they're just your friend or instructor, and treat it just like as if it's a drive to the shop, and also talk it through. So my next tip is have a good night's sleep before. Even during the week leading up to a driving test, have a good night's sleep. That would definitely help. My driving test was in the morning. It was actually 8:40 in the morning. I booked it at a good time. I had a good sleep. I had a bath the night before, did some self-care. I took Orlando the dog for a walk. I went on the forest swing. I basically meditated and prayed on the field on the night before, had a good meal, had a bath, lit my candle, went to sleep in my robe. On the morning of my driving test, I had breakfast, made sure I woke up at a good time, and avoid consuming caffeine or obviously alcohol. You should not be drinking. I would never drink and drive. I just don't understand people that do that. So avoid consuming caffeine and alcohol. My next tip is, what helped me was that I brought water with me. I brought this water bottle. Bring water, drink water. That helps calm down nerves. It helps your brain. It kept my brain focused. That's what I did with GCSEs and tests, exams before. Make sure you have a good breakfast, sleep well the night before, get up at a good time. You just feel more confident and you feel more ready. I brought water with me and made sure I had a good breakfast, made sure I ate well beforehand. My next tip, this is a very useful tip that definitely helped me. You might make some mistakes and that is okay. If you do make a mistake, don't automatically think that that's it. Try and forget the mistake and just move on and focus on the present. I thought I failed because, well, I didn't think I failed. Like, I knew I had a good feeling that I was going to pass. I just knew it. It was a strong gut feeling. But I thought that I might not have passed because the boot of the car was not fully closed, and I thought that would have been dangerous. But if I had dwelled on that particular thing throughout the rest of my test, instead of just focusing on what's ahead, I might not have passed this time. So I'm so glad that I just try to forget about it and move on. Even a minor fault like stalling the car or taking the wrong turn, the importance of just forgetting about it and moving on definitely helps. If you make mistakes during test, don't worry, move on. I calmed down and I just focused on what was ahead and I tried to forget about it. That definitely works. Kind of knew this before, but I was talking to one of the examiners during the driving test open day. They also said, don't announce your mistakes. Don't do that, because maybe they might not have noticed it, or it might indicate a lack of confidence in your driving. So you've got to act confident. That's what I did. I just acted like I knew it all. I mean, I was confident anyways. I just didn't announce my mistakes. I only got 2 minors, so all the practice in the car without the dual control was worth it. Overall, to sum it up, if you make mistakes during test, don't worry, move on and just focus on the present. My next tip is, I think I mentioned this before, Observation is key. I made sure I checked my blind spot. I did my 6-point checks, especially when doing parking. You've got to check your mirrors. Also check your mirrors when you're changing speed, changing lanes, especially if you're driving on a dual carriageway. Observation is key. It becomes more easy and natural with practice. It can take, well, it really depends. It can take a lot of time and money to get a driving license, but the way I thought about it was, instead of just worrying about money, in the UK to take your driving test it is £62. Instead of like worrying and stressing about how much time, energy and money is invested in getting a driving license, I kind of like shifted my mindset and thought of it as like, once I pass my driving test I will never ever have to do it again. Once I get it, once I pass, I'll be getting it for the rest of my life, so of course it'll all be worth it. When I thought of it like that, I just started to care less about how much time, energy and money was invested in this, because I knew that it'll all be worth it. So try not to worry too much about how long it's taking you to get there or how much money you've invested in this, because at the end of the day you are getting it for the rest of your life and you'll never have to do it again unless you get 6 or more penalty points, which obviously you don't want to do. We're not getting there. I know for sure that I'm not getting there because I am a safe driver. We've got to stay humble in some ways. We've worked hard to get the driving license. We're not getting to that predicament. I'm reminding myself this, it will all be worth it. You'll be having it for the rest of your life. The freedom of driving by yourself is all worth it. When I thought of it like that, I just started to care less about how much it was costing to get it, because I know it was going to be worth it anyways. So those are my top tips. If you guys found them helpful, then that is great. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for subscribing. Paris vlog is probably coming next after this, which will be before this, back in June. And definitely feel free to leave down some more tips or comments if you related to any of what I'm saying. More exciting vlogs are coming, including Mercedes, car window shopping vlog and prep for holiday, travel vlogs as well. One day when I get my first car, I'm not getting a car soon. I don't like to talk too much about it because it's still kind of personal. Once I get my first car, definitely will be doing drive with me's, car content, all that hard work, praying, all worth it. Same with the modules. Thank you so much and I'll see you guys very, very soon. And this would be great for me to look back on as a memory and reflection of one of my biggest achievements. Thank you so much for subscribing. Definitely hit the subscribe button. There's going to be some more amazing content